No, I've posted this before, but I've never done it in video form, so I'm gonna say right now, the Dalai Lama knows shit about patience. Now, this may seem controversial, mainly due to the fact that the Dalai Lama is the Dalai Lama and I am, to date, not. But my argument, I feel, stands. The Dalai Lama, while he has had to deal with tyrants who have wanted him dead, has not had to deal with the same things that a parent has to deal with. And I think this is fundamentally different for, well, very important reasons. Basically, as a parent, you have to take care of a screaming tyrant who needs food, clothing, and shelter, and who will die if you do not care for them. A tyrant that the Dalai Lama has to deal with, he can choose to ignore that tyrant, and that tyrant will be able to feed, clothe, and shelter themselves. While they may be philosophically diametrically opposed, the Dalai Lama at the same time can say, I'm just gonna sit here and relax. That's an oversimplification, but I think it still stands. A parent, on the other hand, has to deal with a tyrant, even if they want to relax. They don't have that option. And that's why I feel that a parent has more training in Zen Buddhism, more training in patience than the Dalai Lama has. That might seem slightly disingenuous, the concept that a parent has more of a claim to spiritual enlightenment than someone who sits in a sheltered building surrounded by like-minded individuals. You know, you get where I'm going with this. And really what sort of sparked this current debate was the fact that I was called a boomer for having this belief or understanding. Now, the person who called me a boomer, granted, was not given the same sort of background that my children are going to be given. They had a neglectful or absent father, a neglectful mother, etc. I can't say I've had any real different background, but that still kind of falls into an act of sacrifice that the Dalai Lama will never or hasn't done yet. The simple fact of having to give up the priorities of oneself, to give up the priorities of sleep, to give up the priorities of food, to give up the priorities of so many different things, to take care of another being who simultaneously is genetically linked to you, as all humanity is, but is also genetically someone else completely. To be able to give up that self in such a way is vastly different than anything a Buddhist will have to give up. Maybe a Buddhist parent can claim a moral high ground, and say that their sacrifice is double because whatever, even though Buddhism, even Zen Buddhism, is really sort of counter to reproduction. I hate touching my face in the bathroom, but it's a bad habit, especially when these little videos come into play. So ultimately my regard for Buddhists, and I'm talking hardcore Buddhists, not Zen Buddhists, but I'm also including Zen Buddhists, link in the description of an explanation of the difference. They talk about the giving up of oneself in the aim of nirvana. Nirvana meaning to extinguish the self, as in a flame is snuffed out. But parents, true parents, parents who love, parents who care, have a greater nirvana that they give to. They will work a job that they don't necessarily want. that they don't like, that is spiritually unfulfilling to them, to ensure that the spiritual fulfillment of their offspring is given. The Dalai Lama doesn't have to give that sacrifice. He doesn't have to say, you know what, I'm going to give up these orange robes to make sure that somebody else has what I don't have. The Dalai Lama may go up against others politically, but they'll never go up them truly emotionally. To tell a child they have to go to bed early, and to have that child tell them they hate them for that materialistic thing. They may understand it intellectually. They won't necessarily deal with that emotionally. And that is why I say that a parent, a loving parent, has more to sacrifice, has more to gain from spiritual enlightenment than the loftiest of Buddhists have to give. And I don't want to say that each person's journey is different. And I don't want to say that because each person's journey is different. Maybe these monks have come from horrible histories, but even a monk with the most horrible of histories only has to give up their history of self. They can say that they've given up their self in pursuit of serving others, but ultimately they're giving up their pursuit of selflessness to others that feel the same way that they do, in a monastery, in a culture. And having a child just kind of throws all of that out of whack. You're taking care of a person who pukes on you in the middle of the night. They get the flu. They throw up on you. You stay up for days and days and days, worrying, making sure that some other person is better off than you're going to be. I'm sorry I'm getting all emotional while I'm on the shitter. But that's ultimately where my disrespect with Buddhism comes into. They've taken themselves out of the loop. And I say this mainly because most actual practicing Buddhist monks, they do not reproduce because they've taken an oath of celibacy in some form or another. They may have come to Buddhism and monkhood after they've had children. But ultimately, they've taken themselves out of the loop. They may involve themselves politically, but organically they're not part of a culture that they have come from. They eschew the rigors and downtrodden areas of human existence. And while I can admire their stick-to-itiveness, their adherence to their beliefs, I can also distract from that adherence, from the mere idea that their sacrifice has drawn them away from others. So maybe that's my shitty opinion. Zen Buddhist monks have nothing on the mother who retains her calm and composure in the middle of the shitstorm that is a toddler screaming and ranting and raving over a material possession that they want. It's easy to even do that when it's not your child, but when it's directly related to you, that you are responsible for the reactions and responses of another person, that you can't say, not my problem. A parent is far superior than a Zen Buddhist. And that's my shitty opinion. Alright, I'm Judas Ex Machina. Please buy my novel, True Monsters. Please buy my novel, The Judas Bastard. Please buy my novel, Strange Attractors. They're all, at the very least, entertaining. Even if you hate them and throw them against the wall, you can say, At least I know what's garbage. All right, I'm gonna roll credits now. Have a great day. Well, good evening and welcome again to a snip snip.